and how we share our voices here in our community. Do you guys see the recording up, Taz? Because I don't see it recording.
Yeah. I clicked record, Nayeva. We're good.
We're good.
Okay, I thought I clicked it and I never saw it actually happen. So excuse me for the technical difficulties. All right, well, welcome to Fierce Friday. We're so excited to share more with you. And I'm joined today by my council members, Carmela Velarde and Taz Ferreira. And we have a new council member that's joining us today.
I think she just logged off on accident, but she's about to announce.
Hey.
Yes, she is.
Here. But yeah, I want to welcome Michelle Ricci to our council. It's such an honor to have her here. She's such a wealth of knowledge, and she'll have a chance to share here in just a few minutes what her activism is here with Curium. But first, I just want to open up with our pledge and our in the news piece. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to you, Taz, if you'll take it away.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So I'm going to share my screen. So it's always a little challenge for me whenever I'm sharing my screen. There we go. Okay. So the pledge. So part of our activism is the pledge, right? To share the pledge and to share it with every single person that you meet. And at Purium, we make it super simple that you can go onto our app and you can just share it via text message, via Instagram, all of the social media platforms. And we also have it on our website. So if you go to millionmommovement.info and you go to movement and then join, and then you scroll down, here you find the pledge. And you know what I always recommend to do? I always love doing this because I like the concrete, having the paper in front of me, exactly what Nayeva is showing. Print it out. And you know, if you have a laminator, laminate it as well, right? Put it on your fridge, make it into shirts, do whatever you need to do to get this message out there. And you know what I've been finding? Teachers love this. They put this in their office. Moms put this on the fridge to show what they believe in. We wear this we wear this as a badge of honor, right? Because this is who we are and this is what we represent. And this is what our family represents. So let's read this pledge together. I pledge to defend the health of myself and my family. I pledge to choose organic foods that are minimally processed and free of man-made ingredients. I pledge to read labels and educate myself on all aspects of clean living. I understand that my actions today will positively impact the health and environment of future generations. I am committed to sharing this movement of many. I am the Million Mom Movement. And that's why MOM is capitalized, because this is the movement of many. It's not just for mamas. It's for healthcare workers. It's for caregivers. It's for aunties and uncles and husbands, men. It's for everyone. And even if you don't have a child, this is for you as well. If you stand for this mission, you are an activist at heart, this pledge is for you. So I share it back to you, Nayeva.
Thank you so much, Taz. I love this pledge. And yes, like she said, print it out, laminate it. I have it laminated. I also print it out to give it to the school teachers and some of the other moms in my community. So it's a great tool to start a conversation. And so let's go ahead and pass it over to Carmela for In the News.
Happy Fierce Friday, everyone. Thanks so much for being here. Okay, so we give you talking points with how to be an activist as well within the news. I really believe that you can share these articles and create content with it as well. We also want to give you tools to be able to talk to people more about validating what we're all about. So the article today is about America's 5 biggest health issues, according to foodandhealth.org. And they really talk exactly in our language. And I love this article so much because health is wealth. And they're just specifically putting under microscope the 5 main issues that are an issue with our country, really, the 5 main health issues. So And when you say health is wealth, it's really about the many ways we can give credence to our nation's perception of further ruining it. And honestly, I find that America was built on reinvention, on entrepreneurism, on new ideas. But where did we go wrong? Right? Where do we go wrong with specifically health? Because health is wealth in a different way. Who is actually monopolizing our health? And in this article, we're going through heart disease, obesity, diabetes, depression, and Crohn's disease. So these 5 specific areas, what they do talk about is what Americans are spending, the statistics of what's happening in America with obesity. Say, for instance, 40% of Americans are obese and 70% are overweight, and that there are specific prescription medications that people are taking instead of dietary changes. So I love that they're actually pointing to a whole food lifestyle and natural ideas like cinnamon, ginger, aloe vera, herbal remedies, right, that are proven to help and move the needle forward out from these heavy statistics that are taking over our nation. So if you need a talking piece to really further validate that these 5 big health conditions, really, they are issues and they are all supported by what we have as a solution. So I'm going to drop it into the chat now. And I challenge you to share it on today. Pass the word on.
Thank you so much, Carmela. Yes, we have so many talking points here at Purium, and really it starts with our passion, right? What is your passion around Purium, around what it is that we have to offer? Because if you talk from your passion points, then your message is just going to come across way more clear. You're going to be comfortable talking about it. So find your passion here in our activism with Purium. For many of us, gas prices are going up, food prices are going up, childcare is expensive, right? Those are all things that we all have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. And they're all things that go back to voting with your dollar, right? You have to put gas in your car to get to work. Then you have to spend those hours at work to make the money to put the gas in your car, to pay for the childcare, for all the things. And so it's really important that we speak out about the solutions that we offer here at Purium with having a home-based economy where we can work from home, have our children by our side, and not have to spend money on gas, right? And then all of our money is going towards these healthy alternatives with Purium and with the other ways that we vote with our dollar into our community, into our local food stores or farmers markets, however we vote with our own dollar in our community. It's really important, especially, with the holidays coming up. I really try to support my local economy, my friends, my artist friends that make jewelry, that make art, that have salves and lotions and things that they make, because you know what? When I buy something from them, it actually makes their day. It makes it possible for them to pay for their child to go to dance classes or to sports, or for them to be able to take that vacation that they've been saving up for, right? When I go spend that money at Walmart or some big box store, they don't know the difference. They have, thousands and millions of dollars coming through their cash register every day. And so my sale doesn't really make a difference to them. So it's important that we vote with our dollar and we show our activism that way. And some of the other ways that, we can be activists is, those of us that are homeschooling and not sending our kids to school, right? That is a form of activism because we're choosing what to teach our kids, how to teach our kids, and we're taking that time to really instill the values that we want into our children. Or maybe you have a child, homeschool co-op in your area that you can plug into with other moms. I have some moms here that started that, where they each have a day. There's 5 moms and they each have a day that they spend with the 5 girls. They all have daughters. And so I just thought that was such a great idea for homeschooling moms that are also entrepreneurs and trying to work their businesses, because teaching your kids 5 days a week, those of us who homeschooled, over the last 2-3 years know the struggle, right? It's like balancing life, work, and, time with your children, as well as like helping them with schoolwork. Another form of activism is growing our own food, planting gardens, right? being able to be self-sustainable as these food shortages happen, as the price increases happen, the more food we're growing, the better off we're going to be. And that is a way to not have to kind of divest from having to buy the produce from the store, right? Again, bringing it local. So whether you're growing it yourself or supporting your local farmers, that's another form of activism, and shopping local as well. And it all comes back to voting with our dollars, right? Where our dollars go matters, because do we want to be voting for these big box corporations that are putting glyphosate in our food and poisoning us every day? I don't think so, right? We want to be able to invest in companies and products that mean something to us, that align with our core values, and that are also are good for the planet, right? Because that's what we're all about here. And to take it a step further, you know, our company has gone plastic free. I mean, we can say so much about what Purium has done in their activism towards becoming more earth friendly in the past years, of developing this plastic free packaging that we now have access to, not only for our own products, but we're actually opening that up for other companies to have access to that biodegradable, compostable packaging. That is huge. We could have actually patented our packaging and been the only ones. We could have been the only ones with this compostable, home compostable packaging for our superfoods. But Dave's mission is so big that he didn't do that. Instead, he told the company, put this in your mailer to all the companies out there that buy these plastic bottles, and let them know that you now have this compostable package option for them. So now that the option is there, more companies will most likely try that option as well, right? But when it wasn't even available, nobody else really had the idea or the ambition to create that packaging. And so with, you know, Dave's big heart and his huge mission for this earth, he actually helped to create that packaging, and now other companies have access to it. So that's even bigger than ourselves, right? The mission is bigger than just us. It's all of us together are going to move mountains, and we're going to make such a huge ripple in this world of health and wealth. And so I love this subject. I'm really excited about seeing all of your activism with Purium every day as I repost you on the Million Mom movement, and I get to see what you all are doing out there. I mean, it brings so much joy to my heart to just see how you all activate every single day in your business, in your life, and in our community. So I want to go ahead and invite Michelle Ricci. Welcome to our council. I'm so excited to have you here. And I'd love for you to share like 2 or 3 minutes about what activism and Purium means to you. And then I believe our special guest will be here to hop on. So go ahead, Michelle, take it away.
Fantastic. And thanks, ladies. I'm so excited to be part of this mission and part of this company, and support the community at large during these next 6 months. So thanks for inviting me, and I'm happy to be here. Everything that Naiva talked about is our forms of activism. A couple of ways that I have activism in my everyday life. I call it everyday activism. That's definitely voting with my dollar. Being part of this company is certainly one way, but that can extend into our groceries and into the places that we shop. So that's one way that I do that. And I'm looking at a definition of everyday activism, and I'm really resonating with this second one, which is how I interact with my family, with my clients, with my friends, and that's with a conscious intention to change others' ideas or behaviors in the directions advocated by a movement. So the movement of being plastic free, or really with their health. And having those conversations of really deeply listening to people, what's coming up for them, and then maybe showing them how they could be leaking everyday toxins into their life, and how to shift that, vote with their dollars, and really help them change their ideas and their behaviors and their beliefs around how they move through their everyday life. So that's just a short snippet of how I practice everyday activism, and it's important to me. So thanks for inviting me, and really nice to be here.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Love your share and love your activism. I really love watching everything that you share because you have so much knowledge and you share such valuable information. And I think that's something that, is really important, that we share value, right? When people feel like they're reading and learning from you, then they lean into what it is that you're sharing. So I love that. Thank you so much. And so I'd love to welcome Stephanie Dawn on to come share your passion around activism, because you're such an inspiration in your own activism. So please hop on, Steph.
Hey, hey, Million Mom Movement community. Happy Fierce Friday. So good to be here. So I'll just start off by saying that, well, first of all, congratulations, Michelle. I'm so excited that you have joined this council. That's just the best news. What I want you all to know is that this very container was a result of my desire to elevate the issue around glyphosate in our beloved country of the United States of America. Fierce Friday was born in January of 2020 with about 10 of us from the field. Because I knew, in my capacity as now former chair of the Million Mom Movement community, I served for 4 years, that I needed to elevate this topic. And I know that when moms get together and circle up, it's powerful. So welcome to the sacred container of the activist arm of Purium Health Products, because that's where we are. So I just want to give you a little bit of history of my activism so you understand what preceded January 2020. So about, I don't know, 30 years ago, I'm kind of dating myself right now, I'd moved to Los Angeles, and I had gone to see a film called Battle for the Trees up in my native home of British Columbia one summer. And I found out that the old growth forests were being turned into phone books down in Southern California. And that absolutely infuriated me. Remember those big, fat, thick phone books all across the nation, right? So that's where my activism began. I was a firm hell no. And I decided that when I got back to Los Angeles, I was going to find out what I could do to support the trees up in the old growth forests up in British Columbia and the native peoples that lived there, the indigenous peoples, okay? Nature, the wild, indigenous peoples, they go together. So that's where it all began for me. And I started to work with Rainforest Action Network, hanging banners off buildings, doing die-ins, sit-ins, raising our voices, doing fundraisers. I produced art auctions for RAN, so much I did in LA, and I loved every minute of it. I was so inspired by my fellow activists. And so that's just a little peek into my my world all those years ago, that when I found Purium, I was like, oh, I'm home. I'm home, because not only was I that activist who was working for the old growth forests of BC, but I was also an organic living activist. I was that person that would go into Trader Joe's 30 years ago in Los Angeles and go, hey, where's your organic produce? I would buy it, because I'd lived on an organic farm. And I'd hear the produce guys like hemming and hawing about why they didn't have it. I'm like, I'm telling you, I'd buy it. And I'll bring my friends, so that was me in Ralph's and Trader Joe's. And so with Purium, what we have here is an opportunity to merge that activist fire, right, with the mission of the Million Mom Movement, which is predominantly around glyphosate, but it's around so many other things, which this council is so beautifully embodied for the last several years. And you can just go back to YouTube and watch all the content. I'm really proud of what we were able to create while I was at the helm. So I truly believe that we are all activists. We're all activists. And just like what you were saying, Naiva, specifically in terms of what we spend our money on, okay? But we're all activists also in the fact that we have a voice and we can raise our voice wherever we find ourselves, right? I coach my team to be the light in the room. The name of my team is Team Radiance. So it's showing up to be the light in the room whether you're in a Zoom room, whether you're in a living room, whether you're in a community center, wherever you find yourself, right? To help people understand the egregious nature of what's going on with the corruption of our food systems. This is the power that you have. And so how do we get to that place of finding the confidence to raise our voice? Well, I don't know about you guys, but for me, it's really like tuning into what's out there, right? Glyphosate unsafe on any plate. These PDFs, if you haven't read them, if you haven't printed them out, you must. The poison in our daily bread. Because when you tune into the depth of the corruption of our food, you cannot help but raise your voice and educate, all right? This is the call of the Million Mom Movement, to educate, to share what we know, to help people make the connection between how they're feeling and what they're eating. This is the power that we have, that we all wield, because we all have a voice. And even if we're deaf, we can sign, right? We can all transmit what needs to go out to the universe, in my not so humble opinion, about what's going on with our food, with our farmers, with the soil, with our air. There's glyphosate in our rain, you guys. And what I said for so many years here on Fierce Friday is not on my watch, like not on my watch. So I invite you to get fierce. I invite you to become fearless. And there are several ways, practically, because I'm a practical Capricorn, that I want to invite you to do that. And it involves being audacious, because there's so much on the line. Our babies, our little babies, their life and the life of, 7 generations. We are responsible for the next 7 generations. So when we raise our voice, when we educate, we're doing right by our children, we're doing right by their children and their children's children. So some of the things that I do, some of you have been around for a while, I go live in Target and Walmart. I talk about the wall of glyphosate. I talk about the brands that are really doing wrong by us and profiting in the billions, okay? I don't have any qualms about doing that, and no one has ever stopped me and escorted me out of the building. I see people buying Cheerios. I will stop them and I will educate them about the glyphosate on Cheerios, all right? And if you don't know about the glyphosate on Cheerios, you want to read this, Glyphosate Unsafe on Any Plate. You see that little baby with the little Roundup? That's no joke. It's no joke. The highest parts per billion of all the products tested in 2016. And what we can tell from the Poison in Our Daily Bread, which came out in February of this year, not a lot has changed, okay? So what else you can do is you can create a local film night or a watch party of some of the films that we have in the Million Mom Movement. I'm still taking ownership in the Million Mom Movement group on Facebook are Poisoning Paradise, GMO OMG, Cowspiracy, Food Inc. These films are going to get you and your friends fired up about what is going on. And so when we're fired up, we do stuff, we take action, right? And that's where our activism can come into play. And then when people are leaning in and they're emotional, because sales are emotional, let's be very clear. Sales are emotional. When people are emotional and they're upset, it's like, well, I do happen to know this solution that can remove glyphosate out of the body. And it's the only product in the entire world that's been certified to do that. We have the solution. And so we can offer that when people are open and they're inspired and they want to take action, and that they're going to want to become a brand partner because they're going to want to share about what we have, right? Because it's inspiring. So the last thing I want to offer is that I'm working to create a local talk here on Bainbridge Island in Washington that's all about glyphosate. Because it's being sprayed on this island. It's being sprayed all over still, you guys. It's all over the Hawaiian Islands. It's very serious. So this isn't some invisible menace. Like, we know what's going on. Billions of dollars have been paid out to plaintiffs for the farmers' cancer. It's now known as non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. We know what's going on. We're the activist arm of Purium. So let's get busy. Thanks for having me. Mwah.
Passion. I love everything that you shared. Thank you so much for sharing with us your incredible passion around this subject and for joining us today. And I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to you, Taz.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And like, Stephanie is the perfect person to talk about activism. Everything she preached, everything is around activism. So when I'm like, we're talking about activism on Fierce Friday, what am I going to talk about, right? There's the quality of the soil. I'm still learning. I'm learning every day. But I do know about ingredients. I do know about ingredients, and I can talk about that. But then I started diving deep into this, and I'm like, what makes me an activist? And then I'm like, you know what? When I became a mom, that's what made me an activist. Becoming a mom. And you know what I found out? That the word activist is so negative. A lot of people look to this word as some negativity, as people protesting and, causing trouble. But you know what a word actually means? Is taking action. And isn't that what we're all about? We have 48 people on today's call. Every single one of you are activists. You're all taking action. Every time you share that pledge, you're taking action, right? We have this responsibility. We have this duty. So when I had my son and he became sick, and all of my medical doctors told me, it's normal, Taz. This happens to everyone. These are my most hated words. That it's normal. It's absolutely not normal. Our babies should not be suffering. We need to be loud about this. We need to go around and remove those Cheerios from people's carts. Maybe not aggressively, but in the nicest, kindest way possible, right? Because we know of the toxins. We know the toxins. We can read the ingredients. We can educate ourselves and our families. So becoming a mom has made me an activist. I started learning about solutions that started working for myself and my family. And you know what I had to do? I had to share this forward. I had to go and reach out to moms and let them know, hey, there's a solution to not suffering. When your baby suffers, you suffer. We're up. We're the ones who are up all night with them. There's no one else. We're the ones who take care of our children. So wouldn't we want the best for them? So many moms until today will come to me and they think that it's the sugary cereals that are full of the toxins. And then when I tell them, no, it's actually Cheerios with the heart healthy, they're like, absolutely not. They don't believe it. And these are the ingredients that's not even on the ingredients label. We have a huge battle to fight. And this is our activism arm. This is what we have to do every day because they're not even labeling it. When I see a glyphosate-free label, I'm like, yes, thank you. At the end of these calls, when Naeva posts in the action, right? When we have the chickpeas or the anise, and we say, please go message them, that is activism. This is the steps we need to take to tell them they need to get this out of the store. Or go do the testing. It's one or the other, but they have to know that we will not stand for it. And you know what? With this loud and proud voice that I have, I've empowered so many amazing families, moms and dads, because moms are the powerhouses. And I have an incredible brand partner that I wanted to have on today's call. She is a huge activist and she's doing something huge, monumental. And I wanted her to come on and share a little bit about what she's been doing and, maybe you can help support her. It's a major, major goal and she's so incredible. And, we have the best kind humans everywhere. So I would love to introduce Angie to say a couple words of what does activism mean to you. Okay, let's unmute. There you go.
Can y'all hear me?
You can.
Okay, great. Well, I'm so thankful for Taz to invite me on. I love the Million Moms when I can join. And today is actually kind of a perfect day for me to join. I'm actually sitting at an organic farm here where I live, and I get to help out once in a while. So that's what I'm doing today. But what Taz asked me to share about is one of the reasons why I joined and we joined Purium is because when I first met Taz, she was sharing about you all, about Million Mom, and about the amazing different nonprofits. And my husband and I, it's a working farm, you guys. Sorry for the noise. um, my husband and I have a nonprofit. It's called Be the Love. And why we started our nonprofit is a few years ago, we went to Brazil and we saw, and my activism is social injustice. It has been for years. I was a daycare provider, saw that, kids needed to be cared for. We've been in children's ministry our whole married life, but we saw in the ministry we did here, we were habilitating people. We weren't habilitating people, we were making them dependent. And then we saw there's got to be more. But then we went to Brazil and it captivated our hearts because we saw kids that moms didn't care for them or didn't know how. They didn't know what they were doing. We saw kids going into trash cans and to huge piles of trash and mold everywhere. So what we did last year is we said, okay, and COVID was spreading rampant. So last year we raised money and we put over 100 trash cans just in the villas, which helped improve health. And it gives them a clean space to do their recycling and not have to dig through trash or have trash in the front yard. Can you imagine not having trash cans and just going in out your front door and there's trash? And so that's one thing we've done. We saw kids that, were with us all day and their parents were either working, they didn't know where their kids were, or that they just didn't know they were either dead or in jail or in Rio trying to raise money and maybe send it back or not. But these kids were couch surfing, and we call it couch surfing, but they would go to a different home every day, or then the church that's there would try during holidays or weekends would try and to bring the kids home to what would be a normal home, but then bring them back to the villa to where they would keep getting traumatized over and over again. So what we're doing is we're partnered with Purium, and we're going to build, and we're in the process. We're going back next month, actually in October, and our goal is to build 10 orphanages throughout Brazil. But first, our first one is going to be in João Pessoa. And, I know this will break your heart as moms. And I worked with A21, which is raising awareness. And I told you I've been about social justice. And you guys, spreading the word about glyphosate is social justice too, in a different form. Everything we do is social justice in different forms. And what hurt my heart so much is every day we would come in from when we were staying and pass what they called a hotel. But it wasn't a hotel. Have you ever seen a hotel with a metal gate and 8-foot walls with barb on it, and that you had to have a passcode to get in? No, that's not a normal hotel. And what would break our hearts too is we would see these moms bringing their daughters who were 12 and 14 and just telling us that they were going to go do favors for men, and then seeing them pregnant later and not getting educated because their moms didn't know how to educate them. So one of the things we do is we support our partner. We have partners in Brazil. And one of the things we do is we raise money and send money each month. We send about $500 each month. And we educate these young women that would not normally be moms because of the situation, and teach them how to properly breastfeed, trying and teach them about nutrition. And then we give them diapers for 3 months. And that's one of the programs we do. And then we've also implemented a feeding program where last year, another thing we did, and Purium helped me do this, guys, is that we sent money over $1,000 to put in new refrigerator where they could store food better, and a new oven to where they could cook food. Now in Brazil, they don't have a lot of because glyphosate's outlawed. And parts of it is that they don't have the issues, but they still use packaged food, and not all of it's healthy, and it's not all of it's organic. But so we also, when we were there, my husband works here on the organic farm, and does commercial irrigation. So when we were there, we helped set up a little neighborhood gardens there, and he put in the water system. So that's just some of the things. And when we go back next month, we have to move it and make it look differently. But those are just some things we do. We don't want to just habilitate these people in the villa. We don't want to just go and serve them. We want to habilitate them so they can learn how to put a garden in front of their house instead of trash, learn how to compost. It's just, the people are amazing. When things either get like Purium people who don't get Purium, it just gets on them and they go, well, that was a nice experience. But when it gets inside of you, it burns, and it's a passion that you want to share with everybody. And that's what we do about what we're doing in Brazil and want to do, and what we see. And I keep telling Eric and Taz and Allison is that I have a ridiculously big vision, guys. And if you knew how hard it was in Brazil, I see Purium there in Brazil, in the villa, providing jobs, educating, and creating a whole new atmosphere in Brazil in the villas. Can you imagine, instead of the moms having to take their kids to the brothels to earn money, they can teach them how to eat organic.
Angie, we all hear Angie's passion. Angie is so passionate. Give her love in the chat. Like, her heart is so big, and she has this incredible mission. And powered by Purium, we can see this being realized, right? This is just a vehicle to this huge, huge dream. Food, the quality of your life, the quality of your food is the quality of your life. And the more you think about this is absolutely truth, right? And we are the activism arm. We have to share this every single person that we meet, whether you're doing peace activism, whether you're doing health activism, just take action. Okay, back to you, Naiva.
Thank you so much, Taz. Thank you, and Jeanette. It's so great to hear your passion and everything that you're doing with the money that Purium's providing for you, right? So I loved what you shared, is taking a step further of like, not only can we make money in this community, but we can actually take it a step further and help other people with that money that we're making, right? So that is an incredible vision, mission, and I love everything that you're doing. Thank you so much for that share. And Carmela, so excited to hear your activism with Purium.
Thank you all so much. Wow, Angie, congratulations, and many, many blessings from our community. We're all behind you. So, gosh, how can you not be emotional when you think about what activism is? So it started for me from a very early age. I'm first generation from a third world country, born during a time of dictatorship. And my family was actually related to the person in my country who was assassinated, doing the right thing. And now the current president is the son of the person who assassinated him. So my passion has always been from marching for People Power Revolution at a very young age in the 80s. I was just a child, and my parents were very, adamant about people power and the power of our voices, the power of what is truth, what is good, and what's for the people. And then I would go every summer to the Philippines to see children begging without shoes, for food to my door, while I go back to the United States, and we had these gigantic, enormous portions of food and abundance. And so I always thought, whatever I can do to help raise my voice, I felt there was a huge responsibility. And when Taz talks about action, I also think about action, and I think about empowerment. I think activism is all about empowering humanity to act on what they know we deserve and what we truly believe we can do in this lifetime. So your purpose, I'm sure, within this community, if you're a brand partner, is to share your advocacy. And it started with me with Amnesty International. And then I created a nonprofit in college that gave a voice to my Filipino community, because I really believed in Filipino Americans being able to do something about our country by being empowered. And then I went on to developing my wellness center, which is Trimurti Wellness and Yoga, which is in Manhattan. And I did that with my mom. And I was teaching lifestyle education for very busy entrepreneurs and people who really didn't have the time. And I felt like if I could empower people to live a healthy life with my voice and my example and what I've done in my past, then I could help more people. And that's why I felt so at home here with Purium. I felt like especially the Million Mom movement, advocacy, activism, and empowering others, especially the women, the mamas, the caregivers. I feel really strongly that I'm in exactly the right place at the right time. And in this Aquarian era, we have so many tools, including our high vibration food, to usher the new way. So we give you tools here. And we also want you to always work with a mentor, because if you need support in finding your voice, mentorship is a great tool. And so not only do you become a mentor when you become a brand partner, I feel like with this community, it's just a built-in training. And when you become a mentor for a team, now you're creating a tribe, you're creating an army of people going out to the world. And I truly feel the ones who are successful in my group are the ones who are open to their storytelling, their honesty, the transparency of the struggle. And if not for the human condition to be expressed in this way with our community, I don't think people feel comfortable to come to us. And so we need to lead with activism. I think if we don't lead with activism, everyone is stuck in this terrible spiral that continues around. The 5 biggest issues in health can all be prevented. And if not for our voices sharing, what can we do? So I'm going to pass the word actually to my dear friend who's been on my path with me. She's a diamond in my company. She's in the Chicago area. Her name is Alicia Buvis. And I'd love for her to come on and share briefly, what is her activism? What does that look like? Welcome, Alicia. I'll just ask you to unmute.
Hi, thank you for that, Carmela. Hello, everybody. Now, activism to me is really standing, and I like that you brought the truth in it, in your truth, like looking to those things that really spark frustration or even annoyance in me. And how can I spark that into purpose and passion? And one of the things that really caught my interest outside of all of the amazing ways that Purium gives back and it really offers education and resources for the long term, the sustainability of these lifestyle habits that happen when you come into this movement here. And for me, it's really about having a company that's plastic free. I think that that's also a really important piece of what we offer educationally here. And with my nonprofit, I organize a lot of wellness events and offer opportunities for people to explore education through healthy food, through yoga, through mindfulness, through healing, through movement, through having an inclusive space for all ages to be involved, through local beach cleanups and being a voice for the reefs, and seeing that, what we do certainly does make an impact now and for our future generations. So I really appreciate that, Purium holds space to be a voice for the mamas and for the children, so that we can not only implement healthier habits in our household, but healthier habits outside of the house as well, through eliminating plastic, having the stainless steel, bottle shaker, and making these small changes that are actually big changes when one person believes that they're enough and a difference. So there's a lot of empowerment that can happen when you do join a space like this, because we are uplifting each other. Not only are we using the superfoods to better and improve our own health, but we also have a space to share these superfoods in a way where we're improving the health of our planet. And that's something that I'm really passionate about with my nonprofit, with Earth Club. I think that it's really an important part of people being able to be hands-on and really see the little litter, like the straws and the bottle caps and the things that maybe we don't really notice. But when you get out there and you start doing some trash cleanups and getting right out in front of it, you know, you're quite surprised. And a lot of it, you know, that those juice box straws are coming from families and parents and kids. So I like that these products also are safe for, you know, all ages for the general part when it comes to getting Gatorade and all of these other, you know, high sugar chemicals out. I think a lot of times we can think that making healthier choices can be expensive. So I always like to bring a family style gathering of using these superfoods and these products to show people that, you know, healthy food can be affordable and sustainable for everybody. So thank you for allowing me to share.
I love that, Alicia. Thank you so much. And please drop your website link in the chat so people can find your nonprofit, which is just budding right now. And I'm really excited for you to bring on events. Pass it back to you, Neva.
Wow, what incredible shares. I love all of this. And so, yes, each and every one of us here are activisms in our own right. All of us that are sharing about this mission that Purium has to bring health into more households, to remove glyphosate from our pantries, as we talk about all the time through the Million Mom movement, and just being able to vote with our dollar for healthier options, being able to be a part of a community that really inspires us. All of these different things that you heard about today are part of activism. And I love how we even heard about the nonprofit opportunity that Purium offers to, you know, if you have a 501(c) or if you know somebody that has one, Purium actually offers an opportunity for you to be able to fundraise with that organization to be able to create that extra abundance so that you can give back to those communities. And so I thought that was a really great thing to bring into this community. If you didn't already know that that's there, it's an amazing thing. And you can learn more under Purium Gives. There's a whole blog about it. And that's an incredible, another layer of our activism of how we're giving back to different communities in need that are needing the support in their health as well as their wealth. And then now with our new PEEPS program, we're able to even uplift our activism into communities that are low income and maybe people that are really in need of this opportunity that maybe don't feel like they have a voice. These people in these lower income communities, what I've learned is that many of them just do what they're told and just go along with whatever and buy what's available at the store, and they don't speak up because they don't feel like they have a voice. And this is something that's real, right? This is a real thing. There's those of us out there that live in these communities where we don't feel like we can speak up. We don't feel like we can share our activism. And so it's our job to go out there and share what we know, and also to empower them to share their voices. Empower them and tell them how important it is for them to share what they're passionate about and what the issues are in their communities so that we can make a difference. Because if we don't talk about it, we can't make the change, right? So we have to bring it to the light so that we can then empower the change to happen. So I know we have many of you here today, and we have just a few minutes if any of you would like to hop on for just 1 or 2 minutes and share your activism with Purium, what has inspired you today on this call, and we'd love to hear some of your voices. So if you'd like to come on, just go ahead and raise your hand or drop a comment in the chat and we can unmute you and you can come share some of the ways that you activate in your business, because we'd love to hear from our community as well.
I think we had Rakira raise her hand. There she was. Go ahead,
All right.
Rakira.
Oh, hello. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Great call. So what activism is for me in this beautiful community is really educating my 3.5-year-old about her body. And really just sharing with our community about gut health and about glyphosate and soil health. And it has really inspired me to not only encourage me to really step out of my comfort zone, but to really let go of the fears of whatever other people are thinking about me, but really stepping into this community that we have, especially in our POC community in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and just really sharing about, you know, what gut health is. I've had a couple events where I got to speak with like 13, 14-year-old girls that look like me and really share with them about gut health. I've, you know, really shared about documentaries with other brand partners and friends of mine who have shared it with their schools and their 5-year-olds, and they literally will go to the cafeteria now and be like, we don't know what's in that, so we're not going to eat it. Or they'll literally not drink the you know, the cow's dairy milk, and they're just like protesting at 5 years old. And it just is brought, and I've learned this because of as becoming a mom. Like I think Taz had said it was like when I became a mom, that's when I really stepped into learning about all of regenerative health and knowing, and then finding out that I was giving my daughter Cheerios when her doctor was recommending the Cheerios, even though I thought me switching to being a vegan, I was like doing okay. And that really made me completely angry. And I'm really blessed with this community because instead of the anger, it turned it into inspiration. And it turned into really just stepping into my power as a mom, being an advocate for my child, and then also being an advocate for other people, especially women. I'm going to say that because we deal with a lot in our bodies. We're given stuff that we don't know, put in our bodies. And now, you know, I'm 35 years old, and there's like how many of us that are working to heal ourselves right now because of what we were told to put in our bodies, on our skin. And so that's my activism, is to really give people a choice, an opportunity to really just kind of transition their lives, start fresh, and just really ask questions. I've been always someone that says, my mom says, I dance to the beat of my own drum. And so I felt like when I became a mom and things didn't feel right, I really had to either be quiet and silent, or I had to let people go in my lives that really did not understand. So, you know, a lot of my life, I transitioned out of a relationship that did not really support what I was actually inspired to do. And so it has given me that inspiration now to really step up into my awareness. And that's pretty much what I've been doing, collaborating with other health practitioners, holistic health practitioners who don't know about gut health, just reaching out to people, and people have just been coming and, you know, just how do we do that? So I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. Congratulations, Michelle. You're amazing. And I really love this community.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Love your share. And by the way, I love all of your dance videos. So inspiring. Love watching you share your passion and share your beauty that way. So thank you so much. And so let's go ahead. I don't see anybody else's hands up. So let's go ahead and move into our call to action. And before we do that, next week's focus is going to be family business, how we do our business with our family, with Purium, how we actually juggle it all. And so I want to invite you all back next Friday for that presentation. And for anybody that's new here, please make sure that you reach back out to the person that invited you here, because we have so much value to share every week. And we want to make sure and include you into our community. And your friend that invited you here can add you into our Facebook group, Million Mom Movement Official, so you can become part of our community and see what we're doing. And we also want to invite you to follow our Instagram, Million Mom Movement page, as well as our Facebook page, so that you can just follow along with our upcoming events and all the things that we share about. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to you, Carmela, and I'll share my screen so that we can do our call to action. Let me just pull this up.
I hope everyone has a new and fresher take on what the word activism really is, because that's what we're here to provide you. If you didn't even know you were an activist by what you were doing, well, I hope you really believe and sink deep into the knowing that the more you act, the more you are an activist. And definitely be proud of it. Definitely feel into what it is we're saying, because it comes from a very emotional place that we care for humanity and the end of human suffering. So when you go to the detoxproject.org for our call to action, I'm going to direct you here with Naiva's support, and it'll take you to a tab at the top right with reports, which will take you to the poison in our daily bread. So in that article, at the very, very bottom, we're going to highlight the specific product, which is barley and lentils. And the brand that makes and manufactures it is 365 Whole Foods Market. So what our call to action is step one is you go to Instagram, and you go to Instagram where you find the company Whole Foods, like Nikki was showing here, and 3 million followers are looking. So we want to go ideally to the post that's most recent so that they at least, we can all come together as a community. And I feel bad for this post, but it's going to have to get a lot of flood of us, basically, a flood of comments talking about how there's a high parts per billion amount of glyphosate in their products, specifically the barley. What is it? The barley, I have to look at it again.
Barley and lentils.
And then barley and lentils it is. Thank you. Yeah, so barley and lentils. So when we comment, are you aware, right? Are you aware? And do you know about glyphosate? They may not even know. And if they don't care, that's a problem too. So the key is just to have a conversation, just to have comments, being a concerned community coming together, flooding with comments about how, and it won't work if there's just two, right? It has to be multiple. So today, or whenever it is that you watch this, please do help us with sharing our voice with this list. This list is something every week we're going to go down to another product and company that's Whole Foods sold, right? Somehow Whole Foods vetted this product and it has over 134, while the safe consumption is about 10 parts per billion. So safe, that means that it's impeding it is creating gut dysbiosis. It's creating issues with our gut health whenever there's so much glyphosate. So I am really excited to continue this mission, but we need your help. We need your voice. We need your comments. And if you need help to see what it is that we say, go to the first post, and then you could see what others post, but make it your own words, right? You don't want to spam it. Make it clear that it's from you and you're concerned. And you can even share a story. You could do whatever you want to do. We empower you to do that. So I pass the word, and I'm excited to continue on with this call to action.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Carmela. Yeah, and to take it a step further, once you comment, if you want to, I've had the experience that a lot of times the company will comment back. And so I go ahead and screenshot my comment. And then if and when they comment back, I'll go ahead and take a screenshot of that. And then it gives you some content to be able to share in your stories, tag the Million Mom Movement, and let other people know why it is that you're making this call to action, why you're calling this company out, what you're concerned about. And it will just show people in your community your activism about how much you care about the health of your community and your environment, because a lot of these things go back to the soil that they're grown in. So please give us a follow on Instagram. If you want to be reposted there, make sure you use our hashtag Million Mom Movement. And I look forward to sharing what it is that you're passionate about on our Million Mom Movement Instagram channel, and let that flow through our different social medias and be able to just highlight you there for what it is that you're sharing with your community and your activism. So thank you so much for joining us here today. It was such a pleasure to be able to host, and until next week, we'll see you there.